Welcome to Real Estate Investing for Life. If this is your first time here, I'm so glad you stopped by. And if you've been listening to every episode, yay, I'm so glad that you're here too. I'm Jonna Weber. I'm a long-term real estate investor, and I help busy people. I help busy professionals and successful business owners use the vehicle of real estate to build wealth without sacrificing the life that you're working so hard to create. And today I'm going to talk about something that often gets overlooked in real estate, and that is the power of community. And if you've listened to me before, you know that I love a good community. And most importantly, I'm going to talk about why getting in the right rooms can completely change your investing trajectory. If you've been learning but not quite moving yet, this episode is for you. One of the most important lessons that I've learned in real estate is this: who you are around matters more than anything else. It's not just about the spreadsheet. It's not the perfect strategy. It's not even the market. The market comes and goes ups and downs and sideways and all those things. But the rooms you choose to walk into is the most important thing that matters, in my opinion. I want to take you backtrack here, back to like 2012, a while ago. It's hard to believe that that's been, 16 years? And that was the year that I attended my very first real estate investing conference. And at that point, I probably didn't even have business being there. I didn't have a background in investing. I didn't grow up around it. I just knew that the path we were on wasn't going to get us to where we wanted to go long term. So I picked up my purse, I guess, and my suitcase, and I went to a conference down in Denver, Colorado back in 2012. It was the Bigger Pockets first summit ever. And I didn't have an LLC. I didn't have a business set up. I had a couple of rental properties, but didn't really know what we were doing. Or I should say, I didn't know what I was doing. And walking into that conference was intimidating, but it was also eye-opening. And the thing is, for the first time, I was surrounded by people who were actually doing what I wanted to do. Real investors, real deals, real mistakes, real transparency, and real results. And then after that came the meetups. I came back to Idaho, and I was so excited and inspired by having made all of these cool connections from around the country, but I found I didn't have it locally. So I created it. I started my first meetup way back then and had 5 people around the table talking about real estate investing for the very first time. But those early meetups, those coffee conversations, those casual introductions, follow-ups, those relationships, they didn't disappear. It wasn't like we just attended a 2-hour meetup and then went on our merry way. We kind of did, or thought we did at the time. But the thing is, some of those connections are still part of my life and business today. And that's what just getting in the room can do. Let's chat a second about why networking actually matters. I know there's some stigma around the word networking. I usually prefer to say the word connection, why that matters. But I think because a lot of us are in somewhat of a business atmosphere, there is a degree of it that is networking. So let me give you 3 reasons why it truly matters, especially if you want to shorten your learning curve. First, you borrow experience that you haven't earned yet. When you're around experienced investors, you learn from their wins and their mistakes without having to make them all yourself. And that alone can save you years. Second, you see what's possible sooner. When investing is normal in your environment, it stops feeling risky or far-fetched. Proximity changes your mindset faster than any book or podcast ever will. Yeah, even this podcast. I have seen it so much manifest in my life when it is normalized that you just talk about returns that are greater than a savings account in a standard, CD or in a bank savings account. When you normalize the fact that you can definitely, through the power of leverage, own millions of dollars in assets in a matter of months, not years, it changes things. It changes your perspective. And third, it's helped me build the courage to move sooner instead of staying on the sidelines. When you're first getting started, it can be scary, especially if you are purchasing a piece of real estate outright, like on your own, without being in a fund or something like that. Guys, I walked away from I don't know, 4 or 5 deals that I was pending on when I was first getting started because I was scared. And if I would have had a community back then to guide me and lead me on and encourage me, I wouldn't have walked away from those deals, which ultimately that cost me millions of dollars because I didn't take action. So highly, highly recommended because it's going to build the courage to help you move sooner instead of staying on the sidelines. Real estate truly has seasons, and the investors who last are the ones who stay connected. And that brings me to the community that I put together a couple of years ago called the Idaho Real Estate Investor Network, because this is exactly why I create a community like this. If you're listening to this and you're in Idaho, then listen closely. If you're outside of Idaho, I have a lot of digital resources for you, but I also want to encourage you to find a community in your home state or city to get plugged into. Going back to Idaho Reen, here's kind of what the premise is. It's meant to be a place where you don't have to pretend you know everything. Relationships come before transactions. No one's grilling you to ask you how many doors you have. And learning happens simply by being in the room, especially at our connection social events. They're not pitch fests. They're not awkward networking games. They're just real conversations with people on a similar path or a few steps ahead of you. So as we wrap up, I'll say this: real estate investing doesn't have to be a solo sport. The right community can help you think clearer, move faster, and feel more confident about the decisions you're making. If you're local to Idaho, I'd love to meet you at our next Idaho Reen Connection event. We have a social. If you're listening to this in real time, we've got a social February 10th in downtown Boise. It's a relaxed, relationship first environment and totally pressure free. And if you're listening to this in the future, you can always find us at idahoreen.com to stay connected and see what events are coming up near you. And if you're outside of Idaho, remember, I still want you plugged into a community. You can visit National REIA, that's the National Real Estate Investing Association, to find a local real estate investing group near you. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me today. You don't need all the answers. Sometimes you just need to get in the room. If you got value from today's episode, if you're watching on YouTube, please give a quick subscribe and make sure to catch the next one. And if you're